Alright guys, welcome to episode 7 of my coding vlog. I've decided that I've got far enough with the basics now to actually start my alpha version. And so I'm going to start a new project for it, and we're going to use a lot of the stuff that I've already coded. If this were a tutorial series, then I probably would have started off, and done everything properly, but this is a learning experience for me. It's not necessarily a tutorial, although I do hope you do find some of the information useful, but yeah, it's a learning process for me, and sometimes it's just good to have a clean slate. And seeing as I haven't really commented this very well, because I knew I was going to be moving a lot of things around, and I find if there's loads of comments, I end up with lots of junk comments. So I'm going to start off by creating basically the canvas. So and then things like the camera and stuff I didn't get quite right. So I'm going to do a little bit of experimentation with that as well. But yeah, this should be pretty much the final version. Anything after this version then will just be like improvements and additions. So I was thinking about doing the actual messing around with the four-dimensional Buddhabrot for this episode, but I think it's about time that the earlier you capture problems and the earlier you make changes, the easier the whole thing becomes. Because if you wait too late, then you find that it's just a great big undertaking to go back and change things, because you got so many things that are intertwined and reliant on each other. So hopefully now I can try and make all the things that should be together, have everything a bit more organized, naming things a bit better and stuff like that. So this is Buddhabrot Alpha. So yeah, so I'm going to create the Windows application Buddhabrot Alpha, and set that as the main project. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change this to a console application. Even though it is a Windows application, it's just nice to have the console for a little bit of debugging and stuff like that. I think I did the same with the other one. So yeah, this isn't me going back and starting again. This is using what I've learned and what I've figured out, learning from some of my mistakes and stuff like that, to actually create something that works, and works in the way that I would like it to work. So instead of drawing directly onto the Windows interface, straight onto the forms, I'm going to actually be drawing onto a bitmap image. So I need to take care of all that first. I don't need to worry about drawing lines, because the way this Buddhabrot rendering works, it's all just done with points, because it's like a statistical analysis of what's going on. It's not actually a solid object with lines and sides and vertices and stuff like that. So yeah, so now what I want to add first off is a canvas. So canvas, and that's just going to be a class. Okay, so this canvas, it's not actually going to be an image, it's going to be a collection of values. So the canvas is going to have a size. So let me just sort out my microphone a bit. Okay, you might hear a little bit of knocking because I've got my microphone and then the lead is kind of going across, like hanging across my keyboard and swinging about, and it might just hit the microphone a little bit. So width and height, it doesn't like that. Why? Oh yeah, of course. So that's going to be an integer. So then I'm going to have an array of uints, simply because we don't need any minus numbers, and we might need pretty high number values depending on how deep into the Buddhabrot we want to go. So it's going to be uint, and it's going to have an x and a y grid. So grid equals new uint and width and height. And we'll just change this around a little bit. That should do it. There we go. And yep. So we're going to need to be able to save to a file, because I think the best idea is to render all the frames and then to, well, not quite render them, but to generate the data, and then I can render the data, preview it, and then if I like it, then I can generate more information on top of the information that I've already got. So that means I don't have to keep generating and generating and generating from scratch for the same frame when I want to decide to do a bit more detail. It also gives me the advantage that I can overlay more information that's kind of based on slightly different variables and combine that information together. So it'll be good for nice effects and stuff like that. So let's say I've got like a nice red and orange image, and I want to create some kind of, say, blue outline, then I can do that with this. I can get rid of the red and orange if I like from where the blue is, and then just replace it with blue, stuff like that. So this will be really, really good. To file, and that can be a public static method, void. In fact, let's make it a void, and we're going to also want a public static void from file, and we're going to want add data, public void add data. So let's change that to small a. Might be nice to just put all the static methods underneath. In fact, it might be nice to put those in a different file altogether. So let's make this a partial class, and where are we? Add new dependent item class, and we'll call it the same thing, canvas IO. There we go, wicked. Partial class canvas, wicked. And then let's stick this stuff in there just to keep things nice and organized. Okay. Now what I also need to think about is actually red, green and blue values. Red grid, green and blue, and do the same here. In fact, let's R grid, oops, R grid, done the same thing again, R grid, G grid, blue grid. In fact, let's just do it like this. Okay, so red grid, green grid, and blue grid. That yellow line should go away. Oh, there we go. And let's start commenting this. So channel, stores the green channel and stores the blue channel. Data, just for completeness. Okay. Okay. So this part creates a new canvas with the selected dimension, because I would like this in a HD format instead of I was thinking about having it square. So okay. you know, these comments aren't really important ones. But I'm going to try and put in as many comments as I can. Okay, red channel. Green channel. Blue channel. So we're going to need add in fact add new dependent item, channel, enum, red, green, blue. In fact, shall we have them all in capitals? There we go. So channel, oops, X, Y, oops, this auto coding thing does my nuts sometimes. Okay, so adds data to selected channel at X, Y location. Okay. Switch channel. Can we not do that? No. Case channel red. Green, blue, and red grid X, Y plus, and then we'll do for the green and for the blue. Okay. Now we might want to be a bit biased. We may want to add extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to add an extra field here. Uint value, and then plus equals value. There we go. Adds a given amount of data to the selected channel. Let's have a look. There we go. Looks good to me. Yep, because that will even help when we're loading. So let's do a get data. Uint get rid of these. Some returns. I don't think we really need the break. And there we go. So instead of an image, this is how we're going to store our data. Okay. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think okay. There we go. That makes good sense to me. Then we're going to want an image. I'm going to call B image for Buddhabrot image. Now I am going to use some code that I found online to improve the speed of this, but yeah, this is going to be quite complicated. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to bitmap. Okay, so let's create a getter for that. Wicked. Okay, done. Okay, so here we're going to have canvas data, and we're just going to have a reference to it. And we're going to have a string file name, so it can either take the data that we've got stored in memory, or we can just take a file. That should work. So yeah, that's pretty much the groundwork for the canvas. There we go. Create a Buddhabrot image from the given data file. From the given canvas. So yeah, we've pretty much got that sorted. I think next time we're gonna fill in how it actually creates the image. It's a slightly complicated process. Basically, it will go through each data. If you imagine it as a grid, it will go through each piece of data, and then it will find the maximum value and the minimum value, and then it will create a gradient depending on those two values, and then all the other values will represent a color depending on that value compared to that range. So yeah, the lowest value will be 0 always, and then the highest value will be the highest value in the data, and then we'll just basically graph that data, just plot that data onto the screen, and that will give us our image. And another thing I'm going to do, I did mention, I probably mentioned earlier, I'm going to use somebody else's code to make this faster. I'm going to have to find it again. I don't really like using other people's code, but this is something that I really don't understand that well. So we're going to try and get our head, well, I'm going to try and get my head around the code a little bit, at least try and understand it. And I'll put a link to where I found that code and stuff like that. So yeah, basically when you write to an image, you'll set the pixel, and in order to do that, the operating system will lock that image, it'll lock that pixel, and then it will write to it, then it will unlock it, and it will do that for every single pixel. So this code that I found, it basically locks the whole image once. Then you make all your changes to it, you put in all your colours for all your pixels, and then you unlock it. So you lock it and unlock it once instead of once for every single pixel, and it really does increase the speed. So yeah, and we'll get onto that next time, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.